Everyone who has survived narcissistic evil knows how extremely difficult it is to cut ties and go no contact with a narcissist. And then once no contact is established, survivors, they find themselves trying to pick up the pieces of their shattered hearts and lives. And many survivors write to me that what they want more than anything is to find closure. Some hope that they can somehow obtain that closure from the narcissist, and others are convinced that the closure is absolutely impossible. And all survivors wonder at some point during their recovery journey if they will ever find a way out of the darkness. But the good news is that yes, closure is possible, and no, it will never come from the narcissist. It must come from within. And the following are points on a possible path towards that closure. This roadmap, it does not necessarily have a timeline, and many points do overlap. You must let go of this illusion. And I know that I harp on this all of the time, but this is the true key to freedom. And the first step in healing from narcissistic abuse is to stop all contact with the narcissist. And the only way to do that is to let go of that image that you have in your head of the person that you are trauma bonded to. And unfortunately and sadly, that person never existed. He or she was only an illusion, a mask that the narcissist created in order to mirror and manipulate you. And as crushingly hard as it is, and as much as it hurts, the only way to freedom is to stop believing in that illusion. And I clearly remember the beginning of the encounter that I had with my narcissist. I thought that he was the perfect partner for me. He seemed to understand me better than anybody I'd ever met before in my life. And we had all of the right things in common. It felt too good to be true, which is also a red flag. And then when I discovered that I had been so deeply betrayed by him in ways that I had never imagined were possible, I realized that it was always too good to be true. It was all a lie, except for me and my feelings for him. And even my feelings for him were a lie. I didn't truly love him. I was trauma bonded to him. I was real, and my feelings I thought were real. And in the midst of this intense pain, I held on to the light of truth. And that was just barely left in my soul. And letting go of this dream man that he pretended to be brought me closer to my own heart. So you must do what you can. You must do your best to let go of this illusion. And when you let go, you will begin to find the real you. You must search for answers, but you also must stay safe. And when I realized that I had been and was involved with a pathological liar, I had a very strong urge to go on what I would call a truth-finding mission. Everyone around me, absolutely everyone, discouraged me from investigating this narcissist, but I felt deeply compelled to uncover as many lies as I possibly could. So I disregarded their advice and I compiled evidence, and as it turned out, I had made the right decision because I conducted my mission without making contact with the narcissist and his flying monkeys or his fan club, although I desperately wanted to. And finally, when I exhausted every single anonymous avenue available to me, I stopped. And I was far from healed, but I only uncovered a portion of the truth. But I had felt that I had reclaimed a part of myself, a tiny sliver of myself, and the entire process was an important step in rebuilding my self-respect. So to me, I believe that it is important to search for as many answers as you can, to uncover as much of the truth as possible without interacting with a narcissist and without interacting with their flying monkeys. And you must continue to follow your no contact rule. So researching narcissism and psychopathy, it is completely okay, like I said, to search for as many answers as you can. An encounter with a narcissist is not a normal relationship in any sense of the word, and it is going to be very, very different from a typical breakup and the aftermath. Survivors are left with so many questions as to why. And these questions need to be answered in order for healing to occur, as survivors do tend to blame themselves for what happened, often because others do not understand what they have been through and usually make very insensitive statements such as, why did you stay? Or why didn't you see the signs? Or it takes two to tango. But psychopaths and narcissists are abnormal. At the time of the encounter, you had absolutely no idea about any of this stuff, that any of these people existed. You were innocent. So be careful and be ready for others to discourage you from focusing on them whenever you're researching narcissism. And they may imply that it will delay your recovery, but researching narcissism actually helps you make a lot of progress in your own healing. And by learning to recognize the common tactics and games of the psychopathic predators, you will realize that the abuse was never your fault. And by learning how their mind works from the very beginning, you will realize that you were set up. And when it all begins, that's when it all begins to click for you. That is when you start to truly regain your power. Allow yourself to feel and think. All normal human beings attempt to avoid pain, yet paradoxically, it is by facing the pain and moving through it that we find this beauty, because on the other side of our deepest suffering, we have the opportunity to experience the greatest joy. And as you heal, you will find yourself moving kind of back and forth through these stages of grief that are unique to the aftermath of an encounter with a narcissist. Allow yourself to feel all of these emotions as they come over you like a wave, which will like I said, it will happen in waves. And also allow the thoughts of the narcissist, and when they overwhelm your mind, even though you may feel as if you are going crazy because you can think of nothing else, let it flow through. Continuously pushing the obsessive thoughts away can actually be more harmful than helpful. And you most likely are experiencing symptoms of CPTSD or PTSD, and it is important to find resources that can help you work through the trauma of what has happened to you. And this may include therapy, coaching, and other healing modalities. And amazingly, if you step into the pain instead of running from it, you begin to understand and see who you are on a deeper level. You develop self-respect, self-love, and new confidence, and you learn to trust your intuition. And when you are able to trust yourself, then you will start to find that others are worthy of your trust as well. Accept that which you cannot control. And when I learned the truth about my narcissist, I was so disturbed to realize that such evil exists on this world. And the encounter was over, but I was deeply upset to see the narcissist move on to another target, and seemingly happy and not caring anything about how I felt or how broken I was. And my first reaction to this was complete heartbreak, shame, and outrage. I wanted to expose the narcissist for the monster that he is, and I wanted to convince this other woman to leave him. I wanted him to apologize to me and actually mean it. I wanted justice and I wanted revenge. And however, I knew that I could not stop him from lying and manipulating and hurting others. I knew I could not convince the new target of his truth, and I knew I could not make him feel remorse for the things that he had done to me. What I could do was focus on my own healing and my own life. And when I made the choice to do that, one day at a time, I gradually felt happier and more peaceful. And I still wage a daily struggle to relinquish that desire to control what I cannot control, but thankfully it is not nearly as difficult as it used to be. And you must remember, you will never receive traditional closure from a narcissist, and the light from that you can discover from within your own soul is so much better. You must trust in your own unique truth. Perhaps the most significant epiphany during my recovery came from when I finally was able to believe in myself and trust my own truth. Narcissists are eerily similar in so many ways, and yet so many of the details of my encounter seemed kind of different from other survivors' stories. So I struggled to make sense out of what had happened to me uniquely. And I heard so many opinions from so many people about how to heal, about who I was, who I should be, and about what to believe. I questioned myself, as I always had, and as long as that intense self-doubt remained, my pain lingered. And ironically, it was only after reading survivors' stories and story after story after story, so similar to mine and yet so different, that fog began to lift. And only after reading so many other stories and after seeing finally seeing my own worth, was I able to see the truth in my experience. I still have my doubts to this day about so many things, but now I can put them into perspective and listen first to the voice within my heart. And you have a similar voice within yours. Please listen to it. My name is Sara Ann Brown, and this is Narcissistic Abuse 101. Hey guys, if you would like to donate to my cause, Narcissistic Abuse 101, get people some free coaching, you can contribute to the production of these videos, help the production of my new book, live speaking events, and so much more that I have coming up. Click the PayPal link in my bio. Thanks, guys.